Down at an Olympia cafe yesterday after the show, doing a story for The Divide this Sunday, and Governor Jay Inslee was speaking as I was there, and they were sort of checking, is he going to reopen? Is he going to reopen? Not yet, but the governor is saying that that is basically imminent at this point. We're just a few percentage points away. One of the questions I have is whether the state's largest city is ready for a full reopening. So joining us this morning is Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkan. Mayor, good morning to you.
Good morning, Brandi.
So I obviously want to talk about that, but I just want to take a step back quick because I haven't spoken to you since the death of Seattle Police Officer Lexi Harris. It's obviously been a really tough week for the men and women of the Seattle Police Department. What is your message to them this morning?
It's been an incredibly difficult week, and I sent a message to all of the departments saying how we shared their grief. We're happy that they were able to make the critical arrest, but I think one way we can honor Lexi Harris is to remember the great service that she and other police officers do for our city. You know, she left a really tough shift driving home. She could have done a lot of things when she saw that accident, but she stopped to help people. And I think that that is a real, shows you, why she served and what was in her heart.
Yeah, just everything we've heard about her, just such a remarkable young woman, epitomized what it meant to protect and serve. So certainly our condolences to the men and women of the Seattle Police Department this morning. All right, let's talk about the latest with COVID. So the governor is suggesting before June 30th we could fully reopen. Is Seattle ready for that?
Well, first I want to say to the rest of Washington State, you're welcome. Because the city of Seattle was able to get to 70% of 12 and above. And we have almost 80% who've had their first dose. We really have done our share for the whole state. And I think that setting that model and setting that mark is really paving the way for not just Seattle to reopen, but for King County and the state to really be one of the first in the country to set the pace. And I'm really excited about it. It's been a really hard 14 months. We won't be able to flip the light switch. It's not going to all happen overnight. But Seattle's ready, and I think that we'll be ready to reopen. And next week we'll be announcing some really exciting measures we'll be taking downtown.
Yeah, but at the same time, Seattle and King County has had this increased mask directive that it's been under while the rest of the state has not. You guys are still suggesting people who are fully vaccinated wear their masks indoors. I know you finally hit the threshold whereby 2 weeks from now that will go away. But I was thinking, if the governor reopens the state fully, let's say next week, are you guys really still going to keep these heightened mask directives in place? Because that would feel odd if the state's fully reopen and King County still has these heightened mask requirements.
So I think the reason that Seattle was able to hit the bar early is we did things that were prudent and smart and followed the science. And right now, as you know, Brandi, there's an uptick in the variants, some of them that are very dangerous. And Seattle isn't a closed, system. People come from other places. We're having more and more tourists come. So we wanted to be safe and cautious. But Dr. Durkan has announced that the mask mandates will go away. There'll still be a lot of people who decide to wear the mask, particularly in certain settings. But I think what we really got to focus on is not the mask, but how do we make sure we get our small businesses back open, our workers back to work, getting our cities ready for reopening and getting tourists back here again. And then bringing everyone back to work in a new hybrid reality where some people will work on premises, some won't. It's going to be a lot of challenges for people all at once. But I think that we've shown we can do the hard things over the last 15 months. Yeah,
really quickly, though, if the state reopens early, will you guys end that mask directive early then?
Well, obviously, I'll talk to Dr. Durkan to see what we think the risks are and see where we are. We are seeing an uptick of some of the more dangerous variants here, and we just want to be smart about it. And so I know that in 2 weeks, you can take your mask off. There's most places you can take it off now. And I think that what we really have to focus on is not just the mask and what's the symbol of, but really people should take a lot of pride that our city, our county, and our state are some of the first in the country, and the city-state the first in the country to reach this threshold where we can get back and start restoring our economy and coming together before a lot of other places in America.
All right, one more question. We're running out of time here, but you and I have talked a lot about the eviction moratorium impact on renters and on landlords. You have now alluded to the fact that you are prepared to extend the eviction moratorium for the city of Seattle. How long will you extend it for, and when will you make that announcement?
I'll be making the announcement later today, but breaking news, Brandi, I'll extend it till September 30th. We're going to really be working with the governor's office and with the federal authorities. As you know, there's a lot of money coming for rent relief. We want to make sure that rent relief can get to the places it needs to get, particularly to our small landlords, as quickly as possible. And so our focus is really going to be on how do we get that money flowing and make it as easy as possible for those landlords to also get paid, because they got to pay their taxes and pay their mortgages as well.
All right, critically important. So you just heard it here as breaking news. Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkan saying she will extend the eviction moratorium through September 30th. Madam Mayor, we appreciate you joining us. And let me just give you a quick kudos. I rarely do this for politicians. You have spoke with me almost every week since the pandemic began. And I want to tell you that I appreciate the availability that you have given us during such a critical time and being transparent with us and being there when we needed to ask you difficult questions. So thank you for doing that, because not a lot of politicians have.
Thank you, Brandi. It's part of our job.
All right, Bill, back to you.